Hey. So we kind of take the days for granted when there's no 170-meter high tsunami coming towards us. If you're in Cape Verde 70,000 years ago, that's what happened to you. If you watch my other web series video, and you know that Cape Verde's made up of like 10 volcanic islands, even the capital of Cape Verde, which is Praia, has like 500,000 people on it, is a volcanic island. And these volcanic islands are explosive too. In the video, we looked around and we kind of checked out Cape Verde. And we went to this island called Fogo, and the whole island's a volcanic island. And part of it looked like that movie Shutter Island, and because it was really dark, but it has really high peaks too. Like you can go up like almost 3,000 meters to the top of the volcano, which is called Pico de Fogo, and it's active. The volcano erupts like every now and then, like every few years. The last time it erupted was in 2015. So you could go there and this thing might erupt, or you might have some issue with it starting to erupt, or who knows. So Fogo is actually Portuguese for fire, so that's why it's called that. And some parts of the island you can go to, and it even looks like you're on Mars or like this other planet. And you can check out the island now, but like 73,000 years ago, it would have been really dangerous. The eastern side of the island actually collapsed into the ocean, making this 170-meter high tsunami. It actually slammed into the island next to it. That's like two Statue of Liberties on top of each other, tall, and it hit this like lower island, Santiago. But the Santiago also has some peaks on it. And what happened was basically you had that capital Praia on Santiago Island, and now it has 500,000 people on it. If this happened now, it would have been like a really huge deal. So they're calling this tsunami actually a mega tsunami, and it's one of the largest tsunamis on record, which I couldn't believe. But they're saying it could happen again too. These like really young volcanoes that are in the ocean that we look at like islands are really tall and they're really steep. And it's not just like in Cape Verde with the 10 volcanic islands. It's in the Azores, it's in the Canary Islands, and you can get it in Hawaii too. These could just like collapse at any time, and you can get another tsunami. And they collapse like every like few years or so. Like not few years, depending on how you're saying few years. Like so often they do collapse. Nobody knows why they do, and it just kind of happens all of a sudden. And if you want to go behind this, they know this tsunami happened because 2011 there was like a few European geologists, and they were kind of studying the tsunamis hitting this island as a volcano, this Pico de Fogo, with the island collapsed. But they thought the island kind of collapsed like slowly, and they thought the tsunamis were a lot smaller. But then someone else, another guy who was a researcher, saw their research, and he already kind of remembered that he saw some boulders on this Santiago Island, like 200 meters up. And he actually went back there, he took a look a little more into it, and he found that there was only like a tsunami that could have put them up there. And at first he thought it was like a small tsunami that maybe tore some rock off the cliff and threw it up there, and now you got that huge boulder up there. But it turns out it would have had to been a lot bigger tsunami. And they know too that the rocks actually, like these big boulders, came from the cliff because they took samples of it, and the only rock that was like the same was from the cliff. And then they found like fossils and like other little materials that kind of pointed to the tsunami too. So they say that the tsunami would have had to been like 170 meters high, because that's what they would have needed to kind of break the rocks off the cliff and throw them upwards. And the tsunami had to like hit the rock walls, and it would have had to like fly upwards, and it would have went up 270 meters or so. So it would have been really tall. See how like old the boulders are. They kind of checked out how much of this helium gas is inside the rock, that boulder, and they checked for like this to see that there was this olivine, there's this mineral inside of the rock, inside of that boulder, and that olivine would have shown like when the rock was torn off the cliff and thrown upwards. Then this olivine would have shown, and it would have started getting off like this helium gas. And they checked for this like helium-3 gas, and it turns out they got the date for like 73,000 years ago. And that was kind of between like the 65,000 and 124,000 years ago, they thought. So they're not sure if the tsunami would have like traveled like really far, like kind of an earthquake tsunami, and they don't know like if this is gonna happen again. And they're trying to find out like before these things happen, is there anything that they can look for? And they're trying to look for like special like gases like water, and even like taking a look at like what the shape of the ground looks like. So that I thought was like a really amazing thing, to have this 170 meter high tsunami, and it could happen again. Check out my other videos. Check out the web series episode 2 on the volcanic Cape Verde, I think it's called. Where I actually go to that Fogo Island and look into it, and you can go to the top of the highest peak there, the top of the volcano. And it's really cool. So check that out. Check out any of my other videos and subscribe.